Hi everyone, it's Allison, and I'm here to tell you a story. This is going to serve as the little introductory video to my channel so that you really have a sense of what I'm about and what I do here. And the story I want to tell is the story about how I came to tarot, because it really does influence how I view the tarot, what I use it for, and can help you decide if this is a place that you'd like to hang out and spend some time. So I have told this story before. I apologize if you've already heard it, but I wanted it in one central place so people could get a sense of who I am. I've been doing tarot or working with tarot cards for about 8 years. And for most of that 8 years, really I'd say 5 of those 8 years, it was entirely personal activity. And I came to it under some pretty unique circumstances. So my mother had been diagnosed with stage 4 brain cancer with a very poor prognosis. And I should say at the outset that she has since passed, but we were extremely lucky. She outlived her initial prognosis of 6 months by about 5.5 years. So she responded well to treatment. It was a very sad experience in my life, but on balance, we were luckier than many, and I will be eternally grateful for that. But one of the things that happened as a result of that is that I would go to my mom's house, the house that I grew up in, and try to look after her. And so especially to give my wonderful stepfather, who was her primary caregiver during that time, a little break to go out and do things with his kids, just a chance to separate himself from that incredible responsibility. And so I was there once for a period of 2 weeks when he was traveling with his own kids. And one of the jobs I knew I had to take on but was really dreading was cleaning out. I was actually living in my brother's old room. And like you do when you're teenagers or in university, you just leave all your crap at your parents' house and expect them to be the caretakers of it until the end of time, which is not really fair, but it's the circle of life, whatever. So I knew I was tasked with this job of getting rid of some of our old crap and either taking it home with me or to give to my brother and just cleaning it out, because the future of that house was pretty much dictated that after a certain point that would no longer be in our family. So it was a job I knew I had to do, but I was really, really dreading. And while I did that, I came across a deck of tarot cards in my brother's room. And this is that very deck, the old RWS plaid backs, some kind of 1990s printing is about the time he got it in high school, apparently. As far as I can tell, didn't do anything with it. He had totally forgotten that he even bought them. And my state of mind at the time was in a really strange place. If you are the caretaker for someone who's really ill, then you'll know that you're always on edge and always waiting for catastrophe. Most of the time, catastrophe doesn't come, depending on where they are in their illness. But there are moments where you have to spring into action and do something or help in some way. It's a very strange space to live in, and it's very challenging and tiring. And I love to read, but I could not keep my mind focused on one book or even a long form article from beginning to end. I would try, and I just felt really restless. And I was sick to death of television. I didn't have Netflix or anything or streaming. And it was just like, commercials enraged me, and I just couldn't keep my focus on really anything. So when I found these tarot cards, I was like, aw, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. And this is exactly the attitude I went in with. I am going to learn these cards as a party trick. And then at Halloween, whatever, I'll dress up like a fortune teller and I'll wow my friends. And won't it be hilarious, right? That I use these cards to tell the future. Hardy har har. And that was literally what I went in thinking. I love Halloween. I always have what's not like, and I like the creepy and spooky and macabre. Super fun. So I was like, I'll learn a card a day. You guys have all seen this deck. And then I didn't even put them in order. I knew there were Roman numerals on them, but I didn't really care. But I just found them really comforting. And then I started to just look at the images and think about the things that I was going through and started to apply them to my own life. And at the time I was feeling actually really shy about it. And I was like, this is grief and this is stress, and I'm just a flaky weirdo who's doing this. But I kept it up. I kept it up after I went home after those 2 weeks. I asked my brother if I could have the cards, and he was like, what tarot cards? I don't know. And I started to get more and more into it. And I bought a couple books on tarot, and I just loved it. I just loved it. And I found it so helpful. And it was a thing I could do. I could pull a card each day, learn about that card, apply it to my own life. And really think about my own process of grief, which would continue to take place for another few years as I moved through it. The cards helped me through my grief. They helped me to consider the wide possibilities of the world around me when my vision was very tunnel focused. And I've never really looked back from there. So as a result, my practice was intensely personal for a long time because it was so tied to this monumentous time in my life. Also because I was a little embarrassed about it. I wasn't sure how people would take it if I told them about it. And I don't know, maybe that's it. Just those two things. I've never used them to tell the future. I've used them to consider the future in terms of where I want to go with my life and what I want to do. And I've used them to reflect on my own past and to think about where I'm coming from and what might still be sticking points for me moving forward. But I don't consider myself a psychic, and I don't consider myself magic, and I don't consider these beautiful, cool cards as really anything more than metaphors that explore our passage through life, different facets of our personalities, and the human condition in general. So that's what you're going to find on this channel, is me thinking about what the cards might mean in week ahead readings, thinking about what they reflect in us and truths that they can tell us, the limitations of the cards in different times, different artists' interpretations, which is one of my favorite things. I don't have as many tarot decks as some people on YouTube do, but I have a lot. So welcome to the channel. If this is your first time, I'm so thrilled you're here. And if you have any comments, I love to respond to comments. I'm just a tiny little channel, so I got lots of time to respond to people's comments. And if you'd ever like me to talk about anything in particular, I'd love to hear your thoughts. So welcome, poke around, enjoy.